This is the Mt.Lavinia Beach Hotel, located in the city known as Mt.Lavinia, which is part of the Columbus city. It's a well-known, it's quite a popular hotel, and because it's a beach resort. So I'm right now in Mt.Lavinia Beach area, and so just want to give you an idea as to what this ambience or ambiance is all about. All right, so this is the beach. I'm not ready to soak my feet. I'm wearing my sneakers. So, and it turned out to be the heat is the heat can be scorching. It's a tropical country. It's a tropical island in the southern tip of India, and it can be, the heat can be, the humidity is sometimes unbearable. And but this is the beach. Turned out to be a rainy day, so it took most of the heat away. So the humidity is kind of quite low. So I just decided to come out. I like to do my walk in the beach for 1 hour in the morning. I got, for whatever reason, I went to bed late and woke up rather little late. I was not up to it. But maybe in the evening after this, I will walk a good 1 hour walk from one end to the other. It's all, the best of oxygen. It's not even oxygen, it's O3, ozone. It's known as the best for your health and lungs and your system. So that's all that apart. This is Mt.Lavinia Beach in Colombo, Sri Lanka. At the farthest end, I think you can see the Columbus city. And that's it. I'm going to take a little hike. Let's go. People are just staring at me. I don't give two hoots about it. I do what I do, just all by myself, and just mind my business. And people are curious, especially they don't bother someone coming from the west in terms of if they're Caucasians, or if they're the white folks from the west. They're treated as tourists. But one of us coming from that part of the world, from the Western Hemisphere, and they look at the skin color, and the local folks have a different attitude. They're curious, and the country used to be a very nice country, peaceful, etc. But that was in the bygone day. Maybe 40 years ago, yes, it was one of the most peaceful. Country was different. Now it's horrible what has happened to this country. The economy is in doldrums. Unfortunately, I don't want to make any political comments. I mean, don't want to make any comments about it. But then the economy is really, really bad here. Used to be, this was an island that could vie with it could have been as good as Singapore, but Singapore has no landscape and natural landscape. Infrastructure is far excellent in Singapore, but unfortunately this had that natural landscape, this island. But today, in spite of it has a great potential to become one of the most popular tourist destination in the world, but did not happen because what happened, I think it's the civil war lasted like 27 years. Just briefly making a comment here, it was all, I guess, self-inflicted, right? I mean, don't want to say anything. Country's gone down the drain, and people are, see, on top of everything, just like in US, where the southern borders are open and drugs are pouring in. If only, arguably, one of the superpowers in the world with the biggest army, can they not control these drug menace with their the biggest army in the world? I guess within 48 hours, if there is a will, there is a way, they could. But why? It's not happening. It's because, you see, the politicians are cahoots. And you see, a president cannot do all by himself, and he has to pander to his, I don't want to get too technical here, pander to the House, meaning the senators and the Congress members and the governors. And these are leaders in their respective states. And obviously, money is illicit drug, is a menace to the world. But if these people who are pride, the politicians, not shoveling under the table, to use an expression, drug with the arguably biggest army, you think you cannot control the menace coming into the country? Wow, they opened the borders because they wanted the drugs coming into the country. They want to ruin the people, but they say they work for the people. They serve the people, but that's how they, I think Ronald Reagan said a president is the servant of the people. But is that what's happening? Sad. And when drugs are pouring into the country from the southern border, US, all the Latin American country, the drug cartels, it's one of the biggest business in the world. Probably comes into the first 3 or 4 in the sense of revenue garnering enterprises. Illicit drugs is probably within the first 5 or 6, right? And these drug lords, they have fleets of planes, and I'm talking about real big planes, not twin engine planes, and they live in mountaintop mansions and whatnot. They have their own I guess their own way of dealing with the government, but everybody's caught with everybody. Money rules the world. Sad it has happened here in this island. Drugs, everybody is poverty stricken because they ruined the economy, and right after the long civil war for 27 years, I believe it's 27 years, subject to correction. Now what's happening? Economy is in the doldrums. People are suffering. Everybody's suffering out on the street begging. But most of the time, most of the people are on drugs, some kind of drugs. And drugs that I'm talking about illicit drugs. I'm talking about dope and crack. So that said, nobody pays attention. How is this happening? How is this crack and these dope drugs, such as I know only I've heard of only crack and cocaine, and I don't know, there's unknown number of new drugs coming into the country. Somebody said the wife, I went to a shoe mart to get a pair of shoes. The young woman was crying, and I said, what? She said, this belongs to my mother-in-law, and the husband is always she's being tortured and harassed. I said, whoa, like, what is this? And she said, husband is taking ice. I didn't understand what the hell is ice. I thought he's putting ice cubes in some kind of drinks and alcohol and drinking. Turns out ice is some kind of crack, some kind of dope. No idea. Uh, well, that's what on the street people are. It has become a way of life, begging. And I saw a guy coming to me asking for money. I mean, they swoon around you once you start giving money. And what happens is he was carrying a little boy about 6 years old. The boy looked very sick, and I tendered some bills, and I didn't have any change. I tendered a big bill, and so the person who was with me, snubbed me, not snubbed, I mean, scolded me. Why did you give so much money? I said, I didn't have change. You should have asked me, right? These people, I said, I feel sorry for the child. No, even the child is on drugs. They give this is their way of making money. They give the drugs to the child and carry them around and beg. And it's crazy what's happening. It's totally beyond what you would possibly could imagine. That's Mt.Lavinia Beach Hotel. It's because it's all morning it was raining. The weather is nice and calm, and I mean the beach. The breeze is wafting your body and feels so good. You could walk for miles here. But this is the only area that's clean. Lovely doggy boy, big. Oh. So that's what's happening, and I don't want to. I had to be a little careful. Sometimes I just make comments without being astute. People watch this, and people have opinions for and against. Who am I to cast my own opinion? The best thing is to just watch and move on. It's sad. It could have been one of the top tourist destinations. It still has the potential, and it might turn out to be okay, because this is the downturn. Everything that goes down has to come up. Law of nature. But the time, see, the human concept of time is different from the nature's concept of time. Every empire has fallen. No empires have lasted more than 300 years, and no evil has lasted forever. No good has lasted forever. That's the law of nature. Some empires have fallen in 100, 125 years, 150 years. You can think of your history. So everything has an upward trend and downward trend. So that said, it's kind of very crowded here. I think it's better off. I should wind up here because the video is getting too long with my monologue. That's Mt.Lavinia Beach Hotel in Colombo, Sri Lanka. All right. Thank you for patiently listening to me.